Capo for Capitalism and Federal Labor Minister Lisa Raitt just deprived 6,800 Air Canada flight attendants of the right to strike. She did this while flying first class courtesy of Air Canada's Chief Operating Officer. If I were her, I'd pack a box lunch next time I fly. Striking is how working people make progress. The postal workers' strike of 1981 won maternity leave, which all Canadians eventually came to enjoy. Raitt's bleatings about a fragile economy is really the old capitalist complaint of having to share a little wealth with workers or risk losing a lot of it to lost productivity. Government interference with bargaining fundamentally alters its dynamic. Lisa Raitt short-circuited all federal negotiations by legislating the posties back to work and by threatening a similar fate for Air Canada passenger service agents during their short strike. But Air Canada workers are not in the mood to accept minor improvements after giving blood for a decade to vampire CEOs. Robert Milton used 2 rounds of CCAA bankruptcy proceedings to rob each employee of about $5,000 per year. Then he skipped to England with about $68 million. His successor, Monty Brewer, made off with like $15 million. Current CEO, Calin Rovinescu, just gave himself a wage increase of 77% and is pulling down $4.8 million a year. Air Canada pilots and schedulers rejected deals negotiated by their unions because they knew the fix was in. Air Canada flight attendants also knew that the 2 tentative agreements presented to them were not freely negotiated. Compulsory interest arbitration actually seemed like a better option than negotiations rigged by this government. The Flight Attendants Union was poised to strike after the membership turned down a second tentative agreement. But hours before the strike deadline, Lisa Raitt cynically invoked the Canada Labour Code. That way, her fellow Conservative MPs could finish their Thanksgiving leftovers instead of jetting back to Ottawa to ram through the back-to-work legislation. And then Air Canada went into blame the union mode. They complained to boss Raitt that the union negotiated in bad faith because they didn't ram the deal down their members' throats. But union members actually get to vote on whether to accept a deal or to strike. The law mandates this democracy for unions. Too bad there are no such provisions for corporations or capital. If there is a legitimate unfair labor practice complaint in this, it's against Lisa Raitt and the Harper gang. They backed the interests of a private corporation over those of 6,800 Canadian citizens. This proves that this government is squarely on the side of the 1%. So get ready for air rage, and it won't be drunken celebrities. Incredibly, at the Bay Street occupation last weekend, I witnessed flight attendants talking tactics with anarchists. The most unlikely people are flocking together to stop Raitt Harper and their 40% majority from turning Canada into a forced labor camp. Fasten your seatbelts, Air Canada. You are about to hit major turbulence. In Toronto, for Rabble TV, I'm Umberto da Silva, not Rex Murphy.